All right, wonderful people. How's it going? 1 second, making sure I clean house. All right. So, anybody, somebody, if you can hear me and see me clearly, can you just put it in the comments? So I know that everything is going live and everything is going smoothly. Let's check in with my team. I'm going to check myself. Sorry, guys. Just have to make sure that everything is good before I, you know, move forward with the session. All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, it seems like all is good, except if I see anything, uh, any sort of message. Wait, somebody just texted me. Sorry, you remember that our last two lives had a bunch of technical issues. I just want to make sure that we don't face that again. So I'm just checking internally to make sure that everything is, you know, smooth. Okay. All right. It seems like everything is smooth. So uh I'll get straight to my session. How's it going, everybody? How's your week? And how is the week that is to come? Before I get into today's session, right? There's something I usually post on my WhatsApp status that I usually like tell everybody well on my WhatsApp to do. And I also want to sort of challenge you to do it today. And it's essentially you know how every Monday people post something like, oh, it's Monday again, the weekend was too short, where did it go, all of that. So the truth of the matter is Monday is going to come tomorrow whether you like it or not. But in order for you to get make the best out of the week, how about you set three things, just write down three things that if you get these three things done, no matter how big they are or how little they are, if you get just those three things done, you know you had a good week. That is one of the ways that I've learned to set myself up for success week after week. I just write three things down. Sometimes I finish those three things by Tuesday. Sometimes I finish it by Wednesday. Sometimes I don't finish it till Friday. And sometimes I do two out of three. Sometimes I do one out of three. But it just feels a little bit like I have more control on how my week goes when I do this thing. So I challenge you to try that this week. Write three things down now. Literally, just grab a pen and paper. I have a book here. If you have a book next to you as well, just grab one and write these things down. I think I'm going to be challenging you guys to do this every Sunday. And then maybe sometime, I have many plans for this, like these live sessions. I'm going to have some of my friends, super powerful guys, super awesome guys, come up here and you know share some of their experiences. And I also have plans to have some sort of open house, which was the initial plan. uh, I have a sort of studio where I can invite people who may want to interact, and then we can share this experience together. Then maybe if you've tried that thing I just described, write things down, do it for a couple of weeks. Honestly, it just gives me a sort of winning edge. It gives me a little bit of dopamine hit and keeps me going. One thing I found out is when I hit those things, those three things, once I tick them off the list, I feel like I have some momentum, right? And the week just feels a lot better. So today, right? Today's session is this is why you're overwhelmed, right? I try to think of a more suave or a nicer title for it, but I wanted to call out the problem. The problem is overwhelm. And except if you are, I don't know, you're not trying to do anything out of life, you are going to face overwhelm one way or the other, right? Overwhelm is when you feel like your mind is racing a mile in a minute, and it usually comes with anxiety, a feeling of not being enough, inadequacy, and all of that, and it's overall a terrible, terrible feeling, right? Side note: most of these sessions are actually responses, my responses, in-depth responses to questions that people in my community have asked me, right? So if you would like, for let's say you have some burning questions in the areas of personal development, running a business, especially a service business, either as a freelancer, as a consultant, as an agency owner, or something, or you just want to get started in any of those, you can feel free to ask these questions. The best way to reach me to ask these questions is to join my community. Um, I think we're going to have that pinned on YouTube. Uh, Tim, I'll keep calling out your name. Pardon me, bro. Tim, if you once you hear this, just please help me pin it on the in the comments so that anybody that wants to join can join, and if they have burning questions, they can ask. And just so you know, I may end up just responding to your question directly, but also I might decide if I feel like this is a question that most people have on their mind. I might decide to do a session about it. So back to overwhelm. Your mind is racing a mile a minute. You know, you feel essentially you feel like it's just too much for you to handle. You feel sometimes you feel powerless. You feel like, how are you going to handle all these things, all the the plans you have, all the things that you want to make out, all the things you want to make out of your week, for instance, as you're going into this week. Some people already have anxiety ahead of the week. Sometimes I am some people, right? You already have anxiety ahead of the week, ahead of the month, ahead of next year. Overwhelm is real. Overwhelm is what almost all of us would face. I'll start with my story. The biggest experience that I've had in terms of overwhelm started, you know, right after university. Uh, just I had to move to a bigger city than I was used to, uh, you know, and then I had some money saved for rent because I tried to be smart about it. I knew that I'm coming to a new city and for service here and all of that. So I saved some money for rent. But then I came into this big city, and well, reality hit me. I don't know if that's what you call culture shock, right? Reality hit me, and I discovered that what I had saved was not even up to half of what I would need to pay rent here. So I ended up squatting for my with one of my friends for like 6 months, right? Normally when they tell these stories, maybe you read it on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, is when the person that accommodated somebody is telling you about, I see this guy. He told me he was just going to be here for like 2 weeks and now he's spending 6 months in my house. I am that guy. I was the guy that was overstaying their welcome. But I didn't have a choice, right? And in the middle of all of this, I got robbed, right? So the plan was, okay, now I obviously don't have enough money to sustain myself or to get rent and all of that. Let me try and save some money. Let me try and work out some money, and essentially rent somewhere myself. And then the phone that I'm using to do the business, it was stolen. So I now had to use the money that I had, the little money I had that was not already enough for the rent. I had to use it to go and get a phone so that I can continue to make money from this stuff. After 6 months of hard labor, right, I was able to gather some money, paid rent, and I moved to my, I want to say new apartment, but there was nothing new about that apartment. Nah, there was nothing new about that apartment. Anyway, so I'm in this apartment. 6 months has passed in service here. I have 6 more months, and of course, an extra 6 months if you're following the math on my rent, which means I had 6 months essentially to save up rent or the whole year to make sure that by the end of that year, they are not going to throw me out. So service year finishes. All I have is my shoe business. I didn't have a job, right? It's not like I could. It's not like I had. Well, if I'm being honest, I had people that could help me. Don't let me just throw it out there like uh, I'm coming from a family of people that don't help. I had people that could help me, but I was trying as much as possible to sort of handle it on my own and see how I could, what I could make out of life after school. And I'm telling this story because the person in my community that asked this question is essentially in this same position. They're just finishing from school and they see all these opportunity. They see all these things that people talk about. They see all the wins online. They see everything and they see all the options on their table and they're wondering what next, right? And now they're overwhelmed because they don't know what to decide on. They don't know what to pick. They don't know where to focus the next couple of years in their life on. They don't know if they're doing the right thing. They don't know. 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 And the thing about when you're in a position like this is everything seems global because one thing is going bad, you think everything is going bad, and then everybody else seems to have it all figured out, and everybody else seems to, be living a perfect life. I was looking at my friends, all of us that graduated together. They seem to have it figured out. I was looking at other couples at that time. They seem to have it figured out. All the plans I had in my head, I could not execute on any of them because part of the things that I thought about was, hey, uh, my dad, single dad, by the way, I'm no longer his problem. He no longer has to pay my school fees, but I'd also like to be able to contribute back home. Probably I'll pay my brother's school fees and all of that, but I couldn't even survive on my own. And how was I going to do that? I was desperate, right, to just find a way. I had to get a job. I had to upskill. I had to do all of that, right? And a lot of things that I tried didn't work. Man, I can list things. I mentioned the shoe business just now. I tell you that I also sold clothes for a while. I had a business. I partnered with somebody that was in fashion, and me, I was just the guy selling it, and I was selling it to people abroad. The business crashed. Long story short, and then I tried affiliate marketing. I tried a whole bunch of stuff. It got to a point, ladies and gentlemen, and my wife still teases me about this because at that point, of course, she was just my girlfriend, and I told her like, yeah, there's this course that I just saw because at that moment I was just investing. That time I was just investing in knowledge because I just knew one way or the other. I just need information to get me out of this rut, to get me out of this level, right? So I saw there's this program that they're doing. I don't have the money, but I want to loan money from loan app in order to pay for this thing. I think she ended up saying, you know what, I don't mind clearing my accounts to loan it to you. Now you should go and meet those loan people that will be chasing you up and down. What am I trying to establish here? I understand that kind of desperation to live a better life. I understand that kind of desperation to, beyond just thinking about yourself, you also want to help people around you. And all of that can be overwhelming, especially when you're not seeing results. So I'm going to break down overwhelm. And by the way, I'm using these examples, like I said, because I'm speaking to everybody here, but I'm sort of answering one person's question, right? And the person knows themselves. But I'm hoping that while I answer that person's questions, you also can pick some stuff up, right? Because the truth of the matter is, at different levels, there's different levels of overwhelm. Every time you step into something new, that feels like it's beyond you, you're going to get overwhelmed. So let's get into it. A simple formula that I would say, a two-part formula that I would say causes overwhelm is it has to do with, two things: how you see and how you do. When you see a lot and you're not doing a lot, you're going to get overwhelmed. When you see a lot and you don't do a lot, you get overwhelmed. That is one. Number two, when you move a lot and you're not seeing a lot, you'll get overwhelmed. I'll explain everything right now. What does it mean when you see a lot but you're not moving a lot? It means you're stagnant. You're getting all this information. You're seeing everything people are posting online. You're hearing all the buzzwords. You're hearing go and do this, go and do that. You're reading stories of people like you. You know, one of the things that can crush you the most, and the internet is full of it, especially that Twitter, is, hey, this is how I made so $1,000, or this is how I made something million naira at the age of 21. I'm like, why do you have to tell me your age? Now I'm feeling bad because look at me. I'm already, not right now, I'm not 23. I'm already 23 and I have not seen quarter of that. There's a trap of comparison that is difficult to escape in the world we live in right now. I can easily tell you right now that, hey, don't compare yourself to each other, to anybody else. But it is difficult, right? You see those things everywhere. So when you see a lot and you're not doing a lot, you're not moving a lot, you're going to get overwhelmed. And when you see a lot and you're not moving a lot, you have one of these three problems. Number one, very likely you have a motivation problem. I know. the guy that you're listening to, the guy you're watching his live stream, that you've probably tagged a motivational speaker already, is telling you have a motivation problem. Wow, so surprising, right? Anyway, chances are you have a motivation problem. Two, chances are you have an ego problem. And three, chances are you have a source problem. I'll break everything down. Just calm down for me, okay? When I say you have a motivation problem, what does that look like? What is motivation? Motive, a reason to do something. The way I see it, and this is something that I gained from someone I respect a lot and I've been watching and listening to for over a decade. Is it over a decade or just about a decade? Eric Thomas. He said, his analogy is every morning in Africa, right? Americans and saying Africa. Every morning in the jungle, let me say in the jungle, a lion wakes up and a gazelle wakes up. The lion wakes up knowing that if he's going to eat, he must chase down and catch a gazelle. The gazelle wakes up knowing that if he's going to stay alive, he must wake up. I mean, he must outrun the lion, right? Now, here's the thing. I believe that for you to actually survive, for you to actually move forward and get doing the things you want to do, you need to be the lion and the gazelle. You need hunger and you need pressure. You need something that is chasing you and you need something to chase. Most of the time, people have one or the other, or it is out of balance. I'll say it again. You need something that is chasing you and you need something to chase. Most people see all of these things online, right? You see people living awesome lives, you see all of that things, and you find it interesting, right? Just double checking my stream here. It seems like we're good. All right, awesome. You see all these things online, right? And it's all a fantasy. It's awesome. You like that life. It's something you want to chase, but maybe you don't desire it enough. Pardon me to say that. You see, there's a difference between something that fascinates you and something that, you know, has become a conviction that that is what your life needs to be. I am fascinated. I can watch um, football highlights uh, after highlight after highlight. I can watch Zlatan Ibrahimovic do a scissors kick. I can watch Cristiano Ronaldo take a shot outside the box 18. I can watch Lionel Messi dribble through 7 players. I think I'm starting. I think I'm outing myself here that I don't watch a lot of recent football by just calling these old names. I can watch Saka score an awesome goal, right? But that is all fascination. That is not. I don't have enough desire to actually live that life. I can imagine myself doing it, but that doesn't mean I want it enough for me to go and do it. It's even already too late, yeah? Right? So the first things first is you need to clarify: is this something that you want to commit to? Right? This is what you want to chase. Reason why it's important for you to have that difference between what you're fascinated with and what you really believe you want in your life is so that you don't start chasing too many things, right? You don't start chasing this one and down and down and down and down and down. It gives you focus to know what you're chasing. And what makes you chase something? Hunger, pure hunger to do it. Pure hunger, like, are you hungry for it? I know that sounds typical. Are you hungry for it? Is it something that, man, nobody has to teach you to go and eat, man. You will eat. If there's something that you're obsessing over and over and over and over, even though nobody else cares about it, chances are you have pure hunger for it. But there's also a chance that you're killing that hunger because of something else that I'm going to mention after talking about this motivation problem, right? So now you need something you're chasing, and then you need something that is chasing you. That is outside pressure. I know that what everybody is saying now is, yeah, nobody should pressure me, nobody should this, nobody should that. It's good advice, right? You always have to know, you have to understand something, right? All advice can be good advice and all advice can be bad advice. It depends on where you're applying it, right? So you need a little bit of outside pressure. You need to allow a little bit of outside pressure from the right source. We're still going to talk about source. You need to allow a little bit of outside pressure to keep you moving. If you're seeing a lot and not doing a lot, it might be because you don't have a big enough reason to move. Either because you don't have what you're chasing, or you know what you're chasing, but nothing is chasing you. Now, how do you orchestrate something to chase you? Most of us, myself included, right? Anything we want to do, we don't do it in a way, the way that Apostle Femi Lazarus would say. He taught us this in one of his mentorship classes. He said, if you want to do anything and you are sure that you want to get it done for real, right? Make sure that what you're doing is you're booking a one-way trip, a one-way ticket. What does that mean? It means that you are doing it in a way that if you fail, it will be loud. Most people, when they want to do something, when they say they want to do something, they do it in a quiet way. They tell the people that will not bother them about it. They write it in their notes. It is not out there, right? They are not going to get embarrassed if it doesn't work. I put it to you, this live stream you're watching, right, is because I'm trying to book a one-way trip myself. I committed that, I'm just going to go live every Sunday evening. I'm going to prepare for it, but even if I end up, you know, not being as good as I other people currently are or whatever, because I'm still new at this, right? I'm still going to do it. And then now I have people that look up to me. I have people like my younger siblings, other people that respect me. And I know that you said you're going to go live. I'm not going to want to disappoint these people. So it's you guys that are chasing me, really. You need something that you're chasing. I know what I'm chasing. I'm trying to build a big personal brand, but I also need something that will chase me, which is you guys, in case you don't know. That's why I'm streaming it everywhere. So I have an audience. Quick tip: one of the things that will get you to move, if you're looking for what will chase you, two things: an audience and a timeline. Once you set a target, once you set a deadline, everything in your mind sort of starts to trigger that, hey, you said you do this thing by this time, you said you do this thing by this time, you said you do this thing by this time, especially when you share it with people. You said you do this thing. Man, let me tell you, between me and you guys, I'm still pretty new to this, right? And I didn't feel like doing it today, but here I am because I already made posts about it. If I don't do it now, I have to go and give excuses to a bunch of people. You need something that you're chasing, and you need something that is chasing you too. So I said, overwhelm. Let's reverse. Overwhelm comes one way. Overwhelm comes is when you're seeing a lot but not doing a lot, and we just established one of the things that causes that, which is the motivation problem. The second thing is an ego problem. Chances are you have an ego problem. You don't want to look stupid. That's your problem. That is all our problem. We don't want to look stupid. Let me tell you something for free. People don't care as much. People don't care as much about how stupid you will look when you're doing something as much as you think they do. You're very important to God created you in his image, right? But you are not that important that everybody's eyes is on you. Your problem is you've seen a lot of people dragged online. You've seen a lot of people being what's it called? Hmm. Why am I getting a message about? All right. Pardon me. I thought I saw something like my stream wasn't working. So I was just double checking. Now I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Ego problem. You don't want to look stupid, so you don't get anything done. But the funny thing is you can never get anything worthwhile doing without looking stupid to certain people. See, nobody cares when you're just getting started. Do you know when they start to care? When you start getting good at it. And you start getting good at it. And you start getting good at it. Then everybody's going to come and tell you, yeah, I know when it's got started. Everybody starts to align. You're going to look stupid to a couple of people, right? And guess what? After people, if there's anybody that is going to sit down to criticize you about how badly you're doing something that you're just learning how to do, that person is not doing anything worthwhile with their life. You can quote me anywhere. Let me tell you why. Because if they are doing anything worthwhile in their life, it means that, like the earpiece lady, who's Damilola, that's just funny. It means that if anybody has time to be dragging you or to be talking about you about how you currently look or whatever, it means either they have not built something themselves, such that they understand the process of first looking stupid and then figuring it out, right? Or they are not even planning to build something themselves. Or they just lack empathy and they don't really matter, if you're being honest. Let's be real. They don't really matter. Man, I'm going to drag my son into this. My wife is probably watching this. Pardon me for dragging our son. That dude is just trying to, he's 5 months old. He has all the motivation in the world, so he doesn't have over one problem. Number one, he has motivation. He's trying to move everywhere, but he can't crawl yet. And my guy wants to crawl, but he's always trying. And guess what happens? He slams his face on the bed. It looks stupid. It's funny, but then that's how all of it. You can laugh at him, but that's what you went through too. You also had times that you were falling on your face. We all fall on our faces, right? Last week, right? Let me even make a joke out of myself. Last week, I was sitting here having technical issues all the way till 9 o'clock, even though I told you guys I'm coming live by 8 o'clock, right? I looked pretty stupid doing that. You can't do anything worthwhile in this life if you're not willing to look stupid. You're going to look stupid. Accept it. It is just normal. Let's run through it. We've talked about number one. Why am I not remembering? We've talked about. Someone remind me. I seem to be having a brain fog. Number one part is motivation problem. Number two part is ego problem. You don't want to look stupid. And the final part is you have a source problem. Now, source problem can be split into two. Is that you have too many sources or you have bad sources. And it's not your fault. Number one part is not your fault, but it's your responsibility to adjust it. See, in the world we live now, just by picking up your phone, you have thousands. Thank you, Ola. You have thousands of people that can be your source of information on doing anything, absolutely anything. There are hundreds of YouTube videos, thousands of everything, TikToks that can, you know, that can be your source at anything that you say you want to do. So, and that's a problem, right? If your source of motivation, if your source of information, I mean, how does this saying go? They say there's a million ways to skin a cat. Everybody has their story. Everybody has things that they've tried, right? Everybody has the path that they're going to make, that they're going to take in order to, get to whatever level that you're going to get to. If you listen to everybody, you will never see a clear path to move, because everybody, even though everybody, they might all be giving you good advice, but all of the advice put together is not good for you, right? If you list all the 10 people that you respect, that you listen to, if you listen to what they say on the same thing, it will contradict each other at some level. I'm not saying fundamentally it might be the same, but at some level, there's a chance that it will contradict each other. So you have to pick one person, maximum two, that, hey, this is the person that I believe that is closest in assisting me to get where I want to get to. You don't need a lot of sources. It's causing you anxiety, because now, and it happened to me, right? I think I was in my second year in the university when, I stumbled on my first self-help book, which was Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. I still recommend it for anybody that just wants to open their mind up to possibilities. It has been a profound book from, things I learned from there, I still remember today and do. But then I also read another book, Think and Grow Rich. Then I read another book. Then I read another book. Then I read another book. And guess what I was trying to do then? I was trying to essentially put together everything that all these people were saying and implement it. Think and Grow Rich was saying you should do this. Awaken the Giant Within was saying you should do that. I ended up with like a very long morning routine that every time I do now do one, because I'm human, right? And I start feeling bad, like, oh, more, I don't feel make out for this life. Oh, this thing. Oh, sorry. I switched accents. You don't start to pay me. Like, I can't make it in this life. Oh, I'm not doing this thing that this person said. That's part of your problem. It's part of all our problems. Too many sources. You need to narrow it down. You need to start listening to a very few people. But the problem is you are too scared. You have FOMO, fear of missing out. This person said this, then this person said this. This one has said this one too. Nah, you're not going to move forward like that. You're just going to stay confused. And you will see a lot. You see everything, but you can't move. Right? You ginger up today, and then tomorrow somebody else said something, and you're like, oh boy, which one will I now do like this? You need few sources. And the second thing is you need to understand who your source is. See, uh, you're probably going to get tired of me quoting him, but you know, is my spiritual father, so I'm going to I'm going to be quoting him. Don't be angry. Now I've forgotten what I want to quote, Seth. Yeah, Apostle Femi Lazarus said on a recent stream, he said, before you read a book, right, read the author. And that's profound. And that's something that I've always thought about. And I'll tell you a story about it. Many years ago, when I did in the university, I think I seem to be saying stuff about university a lot. Well, I was going to go into student politics. And around that time, I had already set a goal for myself to graduate with, a first class degree. All the people I talked to, they told me the same thing. Once you enter cabinet, or what we calling it, comrade, my fellow, you fellow, they know how you, they know how you escape it. Your GP will first drop, brah. I was like, hey, wahala, hey, GP that I've been building since you're telling me to drop. You say, honestly, I wanted to quit, right? But being a man of my word, so to say, being somebody that I mean, like I just didn't want to disappoint the people that already believed in me. Understand? I wasn't man of my word or anything. Let's be honest. I didn't want to disappoint those people, so I committed. I put it to you that even after I left office, I didn't have a great result as much as I had that year. Maybe because I had something to prove, right? But that was like my best year academically. And then let me tell you something, and I hope none of them are watching right now, but it is what it is. School is only a part of our journeys, right? So I'm still going to say it. When I took a closer look, the people that were giving me that advice, that your GP will first drop, they were not on my level academically. And that's not anything to brag, but the truth is the truth, right? They were not on my level and they were not even yearning to be where I was going to. The person I wish I listened to was one guy. I don't want to call names because now I'll start comparing people, right? And until today, he and I still talk, and he still gives me great advice. The person I should have listened to was the guy that was also on the path of where I was going, which was a first class degree. And then the day I talked to him, I was like, yeah, it didn't affect him at all. You just, you plan it, you do this, you do that. I wish I had listened to him earlier, even though it didn't affect me, but it could have easily just made me give up along the way. So watch who your source is. People can spill on you their own fears. People can spill on you their own limitations because you run about like someone with itchy ears listening to just about anybody. When somebody sounds smart, you assume they're smart. Maybe I'm even jabbing myself. I'm trying to sound smart here. I hope you think I'm smart. I think I am. You know, so when somebody says something smart, you think, oh, this has to be it. Get the context on their life first, as much as you can. And also understand that um, not a lot of people are good sources for everything. Some people might be a good source for motivation and for inspiration in the side of like business, right? But that doesn't make them a good source of inspiration on, let's say, other aspects like, let's say, spirituality or marriage or anything, right? So understand your source. Quick recap. I like doing recaps just to make sure you're following and you're getting it clearly. One of the things that causes overwhelm when you're seeing a lot and not moving a lot, which means you're stagnant, right? You can't find the nudge to move. And I said, either have a motivation problem, an ego problem, or I don't know. I noticed one thing. Anytime I'm making a list of three, I always forget the third one. Or I just said it to motivation problem, ego problem, or source problem. Ding, ding, ding. So that's part one, right? You're seeing a lot, but not moving a lot. Now let's flip it. Sometimes you're moving a lot, but you're not seeing a lot. And this is the one that is a little complicated, right? And this is the one that basically just requires recalibration. Sometimes your overwhelm comes from the fact that, pardon me, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything that I plan to say to you guys today. All right, I think we're clear on the last point. So sometimes when you're moving a lot and you're not seeing a lot, it could mean one of two things. You're moving a lot and you're not seeing um what's it called? You're moving a lot and you're not seeing results, the kind of results you want to see, or you're moving a lot and I don't want to say you're not thinking a lot, but because that leads me to the first part of this is you have a vision problem. You have a vision and a strategy problem, right? Do you know of those people? Can you think of anybody in your life that they like to work hard, but only so that they can show to other people that they can work hard, right? I think I don't know who defined this. When you're doing the same thing over and over and you're expecting different results, I think that's what they call stupidity, right? See, some people just want to work hard just so they can say they're working hard. They don't have a vision, they don't know what they're working towards, they don't have a picture in their mind, they don't have the strategy towards reaching that thing. They just want to follow the last order. And I'll get me right. If that is you, sometimes you might not have a vision of your own, and sometimes you have to just follow somebody else's vision for before yours can get clear. That is not a bad thing, but at least you know that is your strategy. That's why I said it's a vision or a strategy problem. Sometimes your strategy is to just follow somebody until yours gets clearer. If that is you, that is not a problem. It is a problem if you are just doing what everybody, society, your parents, your friends, all of that, they just said it is this thing, so you said just boom, face that thing. That's not a smart way to live life. You don't work hard just for the sake of hard work. Hard work compounds and it starts to make sense when you're strategic. And what does strategy come from? From auditing yourself, auditing the opportunities around you, and making the best decision. Or the best decision doesn't mean that this thing is going to work. It just means that that is the best thing that you can pick based on what you currently know. And guess what? If you're the kind of person that is just working and working and working and you never raise your head up to reevaluate what you're doing, if you're going the wrong way, you're not able to adjust yourself, right? So you need vision and you need strategy. Be clear. What is it that I'm working towards? This job I'm doing. Why am I doing it? Sometimes you do a job just to get cash flow. Man, I did a job in um was that 2020? I think I was writing content for them. To be honest, I didn't like working for that business. Hated every moment of it. The truth is the truth. But I did it because I went to join this they call thrift or a job, and I had to be paying every month. And if I took that money out of my regular salary of my regular job, then I could I would just I would be unaliving myself, right? Or how do they say it? So I just needed that job for cash flow. I just needed the cash, right? But my strategy was I had I needed the cash flow for long term things. I also needed money that I can reinvest in information and knowledge and all of that. So that essentially was part of his strategy. I wasn't just working hard for the sake of working hard, working weekdays and weekends. And I know people, sadly, man, one of the things that hurts me to say and to use it as an example every time, one of my friends said this. He said the person that taught him the thing he is currently doing, the person that taught him is still doing a 30K job in, you know, where he met him, the same place he met him. That is sad, right? It's super sad. And that is, I don't I don't mean, and that's not me throwing a jab at a 30K job, man. I've done 25K job, I've done 10K. Okay, I've not done 10K. I've done 20K job way back, right? If that's where you are, that's cool. But you don't just stay there and just work hard and hard. I just keep working hard without a strategy and without vision about okay, without a plan about, how you're going to get out of that. You can't Nobody can despise you for your honest work, but you yourself and your children that you have later might despise you if you're just working just so that you can prove. Some people just want to, satisfy due diligence. How do they say it? Just to tick it. Yeah, I'm working. Nobody can disturb me and say I'm lazy. Nobody's trying to proving you're not lazy does not help anybody. What is the result? You are showing workings. Yeah, they might tick, hey, good, you're working, but at the end of the day, if you keep working, doing your workings and doing your workings, and at the end of the day, you're not getting results, man, maybe you're copying your workings. I don't know. So you need strategy and you need vision. The next one is pardon me. Like I said, this one is more complex. I have to make sure I'm not missing anything. A feedback gap. Some people are just stubborn and they don't have, you know, the humility to put themselves up. The humility, and sometimes they don't recognize the importance of mentorship. Now, when some people hear mentorship, like, all those mentors, okay, checking what Damilola is saying. I think most Nigerians have the hustling spirit to work, clockwork, but most people struggle with this strategic thinking and improvements. Nigerians have high tolerance for pain. That's 100% true. That's 100% true, man. But it's not just Nigerians, man. Um, when you're when you're in a system that, well, if everything is not working and you know you don't want to be blamed for it, you just want to tick the box so that you can tell the story that, hey, at least I'm doing this. Why is this this thing still happening to me? So what I was saying, mentorship does not entirely mean that you have to. There are people that mentor me that they don't even know me, right? There are people that before starting this thing, I went to their page, or I've been going to their page to watch what they're doing. They are mentoring me just by living their life, and I'm gleaning from them. I just talked about um, Eric Thomas. I can say Eric Thomas is my mentor, right? But there's also the part of having people that are close to you that can give you feedback consistently, right? You need feedback. Don't just be see. If there's anything I can say about this second part, right? Moving a lot and not seeing a lot. Don't just be walking to walk to walk to walk to walk to walk. You need reflection. You need quietness. You need to be able to look back at the things you've done and say, hey, this has worked, hey, this hasn't worked. Don't just be resilience for resilience sake. I told you I'm going to keep quoting him. Don't be angry. And if you're angry, don't stay angry. Something else that I learned from Apostle Femi has already said, consistency, right, does not just mean showing up and showing up and showing up, right? That's like doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. To be consistent means at least, even if it's just by a little bit, you're improving. Why? Because by improving on something, you are giving it life. And it is what has life that will grow. If you are just beating it dead and not improving, it will you're not going to get a feedback loop that will help you to continue to do it. It is in growth that consistency comes out from. When you do something, there's some result out of it. That is a feedback loop. When you do something, there's some results that come out of it. You look back and you see your progress, right? There is more motivation to do more. Other people around you would probably want to join in order to do more. Consistency is a game of improvement, not just doing and doing and doing and doing. And you would never be able to improve. Yeah, I'll quote somebody else, Tony Robbins. He said, anything you don't measure, you can't grow, right? If you don't measure it, you don't know how much it has, you don't know how much better it is. So sometimes the feedback loop is not, it's not until you even wait for other people. The things you're doing, do you sit down, sit back at it, look at your work and think, okay, how can this thing be better? What if I try this? What if I try that? Or in your job, right? Your 9 to 5, are you constantly striving to, improve your output? Or your own is just, I get there 9 o'clock, and once it's 5 o'clock, don't even talk to me, guys. I'm clocked in. Only thing on my mind now is just to go and watch Netflix, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, right? No feedback loop. That's part of the reasons why you're overwhelmed. Now you might say, hey, and people like this like to complain a lot. Let me check the time. Okay, still got some time. People like this like to complain a lot. They won't tell you they're the ones that are, you know, basically mentally lazy, not trying to improve, not trying to learn, not measuring anything, not doing things better. And then they start complaining about everybody else. The family member that is not helping them, the this that is not that. In Nigeria is bad, but there are people that, yeah, people, if you pay much attention, there are some people in your life that you know that the way you saw them in 2020 is not the way you saw them now. You're seeing them now. But guess what? The moment you see something like that, you start explaining the way. You don't know that he has 7 brothers and abroad. Those are the people that helped him. Nah, it's possible that is what happened, but it's also possible that he worked hard and he was improving. Hmm? Stop explaining away things that should inspire you. Stop explaining away your own mental laziness. When you see a gap in your life, try to fill it. Don't fill it with excuses, fill it with action, right? So, feedback loop. And then final reason under when you're moving a lot and not seeing a lot is there's a time and process gap, right? And this is like the most difficult one. See, the best way I can illustrate this for you is it doesn't matter how good you are is as a cook, right? It doesn't matter how good you are as a cook. It doesn't matter how fast what you're cooking is. Man, you can't cook beans at the same time it will take you to cook noodles. It can't happen, bro. No matter how motivated you are, no matter how much vision you have, no matter how much you don't mind looking stupid, no matter everything I've said since, time and process has to take its place. Now, here's the thing: you can, you know, significantly shrink that time and speed up the process if you do every other thing I've talked about before, right? Because sometimes the reason why you've not started is not because of all the excuses you're talking about. It's not process, it's because you're just making excuses, right? It's not time that is passing now, it's not your time, it's you that have not gotten started. You can shrink all of that time if, for instance, you have good feedback loop, you have a good source, you have, you know, good vision, you have good strategy, all of that. But at the end of the day, things still have to be get done by time. You understand? So time and process can never, ever, ever, ever be skipped. You have to go through it. Sometimes you may not have to, go through it the way everybody else went through it. But even you, no matter how fast you are, no matter what insights you have, there's still going to be a process. There's still going to be a process. God, in all his might and power, created nature as it is, such that, the sun doesn't just pop up in the morning. It goes through a process. It comes, it rises, right? Rain doesn't just appear. There's a process where the cloud gets heavy before it rains. Nature follows process, and you're going to have to follow process too. The game here, right, is active patience. What do I mean by active patience? You make sure that you do, quoting someone else, Les Brown, he says, all you can do is all you can do. All you can do is enough. Just make sure that you do all you can do. When all that is in your way is time and process, just make sure that all you can do has been done. Even the one that you don't know you can do, think about it and do it. Why? Because when you finally get the opportunity, you want to be in the best position possible. And that is a problem most people have. They keep complaining, oh, this is going on, oh, that is going on, Nigeria is terrible. Things, everything that is every one thing for me, man, I don't know if anybody's going to get offended by this, but anything that is a problem that everybody's feeling, I don't feel compelled or pressed to complain about it because there are millions of people facing it. All of us are yelling, and we know we can't actually do anything about it directly. Why do I sit around complaining about it? I'd rather be a part of the solution than be a part of the people that are just talking about the headlines of the problem. All right, guys. I don't know if you feel like this has been helpful to you, but I know that creating this, even simplifying it like this, has helped me to understand. Because here's the thing: overwhelm never stops. You just get better at spotting it, the problem, and fixing it. Right? Overwhelm never stops. At different areas of your life, you're going to feel overwhelmed. You can't run from it. I have a strong conviction that overwhelm is one of the biggest, signals for growth. When you start to feel overwhelmed in an area of your life, it's either because you have to cut some certain things away so that you can focus and move quickly on other things that matter, or there's something that needs to expand about you. There's something about you that needs to expand and it needs to expand quickly. And if you're not paying attention to it, you remain stagnated. All right, guys, as usual, I would wait a couple of minutes to see if anybody has any questions. If you have any questions, just drop it uh, and I'll respond. But like I said, let me check if Tim has had the chance to. Okay, he hasn't. Let me just quickly grab the link to the WhatsApp community group so that if you have any questions for me, even after this stream, right? Uh, how do I drop the comment? I'll be checking for your comments if you have any. Oh, did I turn off comments? Okay. All right. Okay. So here's a link to the WhatsApp channel. Let me see if I can pin it to the top. If you'd like me to, if you'd like to be able to ask questions and, have me respond to you in a stream like this, or sometimes, man, like I said, I might just respond to you directly, tell you what's on my mind and my ideas about it. But if it's something that I believe that, can help a lot of people, I'll definitely, respond with a stream like this. All right, guys, I don't see any questions. It was fun catching up with you guys again. Next week, same time, we're going to be here. I'm not sure that I didn't cover everything on Overwhelm. Maybe if I have a couple of other questions, I might do another session on Overwhelm. But what I'm likely going to speak about next week is why you're not making a lot of money as a freelancer, right? I'll share my ideas on positioning yourself better to make more money. Thank you for the time, sir. What about meditation? Uh, that's a great question, Damilola. Let me just round up what I was saying. So I'm going to talk about, how to position yourself to make more money, picking clients that, and all of that. And most importantly, the mindset, man. People that go through my coaching program will tell you, or any of my coaching programs will tell you that even though we're talking about like email marketing, freelancing, or whatever, I have to let you know that it's more about who you are, because who you are determines who you attract, right? If you're not thinking a certain way, you're not going to attract certain people that are thinking a certain way. So I'll just leave it at that. What about meditation? Meditation is a tricky thing to speak about because meditation means different things to different people. This is me responding to you, Damilola. It means different things to different people. For some people, it means um whatever or whatever. For some people it means, for me it means, saying certain things over and over and over until it seeps into my subconscious. So it's something that is a bit tricky to speak about. And I feel like this just might be something that I might want to go do maybe a series about, in order to speak more deeply about meditation and how it helps generally. So yeah, thanks for that. I think uh, meditation seems, way you said it, can be a fix. But what I'm here to talk about really is why this thing is coming up in the first place. You understand? All right, guys. I think we're going to call it a wrap because I do not see any questions anymore. It was nice, connecting with you guys again. Until next time, peace. I'll just hold this here for like 2 more seconds in case there are any more questions.